Good evening, everybody. Sad news. This one is personally very difficult for me. Ace Frehley just died. And Ace was a massive, massive influence on me. Look, this is my main dog, okay? Les Paul. Is there anything more important than a Les Paul through a Marshall? Yeah, Ace Frehley kind of did it. I used to be pretty goddamn good at guitar. I was one of those people, I would describe myself as good enough to know that I was not good enough. Plenty of people said I had the chops, plenty of people said I had the stuff. I guess that's my anxiety that came into it. I knew my limitations, I knew what I didn't have. But Ace dying, yeah. A lot of people would not Kiss. There are a lot of people who look at Kiss and say, Kiss was all anybody say. And they would generally say guilty as charged. But I'm going to point to some stuff that Ace did. One song. And I remember the first time I heard it, it was listening to KLOS 95.5. And the DJ was the late Jim Ladd. And he was doing headsets. And he played this song. And I was like, what the fuck is that? This is fucking amazing. The song was 100,000 Years by Kiss. That song, like, it defined me at that moment. You know, I was a kid, I was one of those kids who grew up when they had Kiss lunch pails along with the Bee Gees lunch pails. Kiss had the action figures. Kiss had this stuff. And Kiss was a joke. But I heard that song on the radio. It had to be early to mid 1990s. And this song came on, and this is right when I was getting hardcore into guitar. And I heard that, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? This is goddamn incredible. Jim Ladd, rest in peace. Tom Petty called you the last DJ. You would do that headsets that would go on. And I would listen to it. And then he wanted Sirius. And a few years ago, you died. I remember, side note, a digression. I was at a Tom Petty concert, and Jim Ladd opened up that concert by introducing Tom Petty. Okay, this was after Jackson Browne opened. Jim Ladd, last DJ, was kind of written about him. It was back when, I'm going to have to go into this full thing about music, okay? But that song, 100,000 Years, is what actually got me interested in Kiss's music. Because that song was all about Ace's guitar. All about it. The whole theme of that song was fucking Ace fucking Frehley. And then I ended up graduating from college in 1996. And Kiss ended up declaring that they were going to have this original lineup as a tour. I remember being in Utah for Army training. Training in the Army, it was for training as an observer controller. And thinking to myself, oh my God, Kiss is going to be on tour. I was broke. I couldn't afford it. I never got to see Ace play. But Ace had these licks, he had these riffs, and he had that goddamn laugh. Ace, you look at Kiss, you had Gene, and you had Gene Simmons, and you had Paul Stanley, and these two guys were the business behind that operation. Ace was the goddamn fun behind it. That's why I went into music. That's why I went into playing the guitar. That's why I went into doing it. It was to have fun. It was ain't nothing but a good time. Man, Ace, your guitar work. It meant a lot to me. And I had hoped to see you play coming up in Napa. I regret that I never got the chance to see you, but these guys to you.